Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're doing something a little unusual for this channel, but I'm going to show you guys how to fix your headlights if you've got oxidization, discoloration, scratches, all that good stuff. We're here with my 2012 Subaru Impreza daily driver, and I do have imperfections. I will show you guys in a second. We are using a easy to purchase kit on Amazon, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly why doing your own headlights and fixing your headlights and kind of restoring them yourself is the cheapest and easiest thing you can do to make your headlights look brand new. And again, we're using the 3M restoration kit. This thing was like 29 bucks. I'll link it in the description below. I won't belabor this too long. I know you guys are probably wondering, why am I, a WRX modification channel, thinking about or making this video? It's because people ask me this all the time because they're buying old Subarus for builds. So having an older Subaru myself with problems with the headlights that I will show you right this second, well, just in a second. That's why I'm making the video, so you guys know exactly what to do when your WRXs, your Subarus, whatever you're driving, have headlight issues, or if you're driving anything that isn't necessarily a Subaru, this works for any car. So let me show you guys what's going on with my headlights. They're not the worst, they're not the best, but let me show you. So you might ask me, oh, your headlights don't look so bad. Well, you can see here there's some discoloration here, some haze. Same thing up here. You can actually, these spots are actually part of the headlight. Right? They're in there. It's not something that's on top of the headlight. This is the start to oxidization. It's actually pretty bad right here, even though there's no light emittance here. I'm not really feeling the effects with it because the front is pretty clear. You can see there's some, it's getting really bad in this corner here. You can see here, it's really bad. This isn't terrible, right? I'm actually not gonna use the full kit. You could use this kit if your headlight is completely glazed over, or you could use it like this, where I just need some refinishing. I'm not gonna use the 500 grit sandpaper the kit comes with. I'm gonna start with the 800 because I don't need to take too much of the plastic off this lens. And yes, the other side is just as bad. But let's get started into it. I'm gonna take you through all the steps to do this safely because it's easy to damage the paint around it. So we wanna be safe while we're doing this, but we also wanna make this headlight look brand new. I will show you guys the before and after. First step here is to take some Dawn dish soap in a takeaway container like I have, and a rag or a paper towel. And we're actually going to just wash this with some Dawn dish soap, and this is gonna take off any grease that is on the headlight. Use your clean rag to wipe off the dish soap. Next step here is to take a mixture on your rag of 50% isopropyl alcohol, and that's gonna be like 94%, and water, and do another wipe down. We're then gonna take some 3M painter's tape and cover the paint so we don't damage it as we sand. You want to make sure that you are protecting your paint as much as possible during this process. Now that we've gotten this far, we can open our kit. You're gonna need a household power drill. You're gonna need to use that household power drill essentially to attach to this piece, which is what's going to be the thing that all of our pads stick to. The kit comes with these pads here that stick to this, which you put in your drill, right? And each pad is a different level of sandpaper, essentially. So, it sticks to the back here. You can see it's the P800 from 3M, and it gets smaller. Your yellow ones, these ones, are your 500s, these are your golds. And the last one is your P3000. This is gonna be your finishing pad. And then eventually, on the hood, they've included some rubbing compound. You're gonna put that on this, and this is gonna be your final thing before you put the finisher on the headlights. We're gonna start with the 800 pads. We're gonna run the 800 pads a little bit here. Then we're gonna move to the 3000 and then to the finishing. Now, if your headlight is really bad, you start with the gold pads, which are the 500 grit. But these are gonna take off more of the plastic layer on your lens. And if your headlights are newer, like mine, they're 2012, they're not too old, you don't wanna take too much of this off too soon. So if your headlights are similar to mine, where they just need a little bit of finishing, I recommend not using the 500 grit, skip to the P800, the 800 grit. And of course, like 3 minutes into this, my battery died, so we're using the Black & Decker. Okay, so we've marked up most of the headlight. There's quite a lot of debris. It was kind of hard to get into this corner, so I'm just gonna use my hand and just make sure I get in here with my hand. Now this might seem pretty scary because now it looks like you've damaged the headlight, and this is your typical, like, when people try to sell you on this service, this is what they take a picture of after they've sanded the headlight. We're now going to take our wet towel that we used before to wash this and lightly dampen this with the 3000 grit. We want to make sure we are wet sanding, right? We're going to use the 3000 grit while this is constantly damp. Please re-damp if you need to. With the wet sanding with the 3000 grit, we're gonna make at least 5 passes, preferably more like 10. We're now going to take our paper towel and wipe this down to identify the areas that still need to be sanded. Now, it doesn't need to look perfect at this point, but we're trying to understand if there are any sections that basically still show heavy scratches from the most recent sanding. Now it looks like we're pretty good here. We're now gonna take the included 3M rubbing compound and we're going to tear the corner of it. I like to use this stuff pretty liberally. Now I'm going to take a clean rag and wipe off the residue from the 3M rubbing compound or the polish. This is pre-clear coat, and I haven't like cleaned it up or anything. This is exactly what it looks like from before. And you can see no more haze whatsoever. Don't believe me? Let's walk over to the other side. Haven't done this side, so you can see hazy here, extremely dark and yellowed here, very dark and yellowed. Not ideal, you know, there's some discoloration here. It just doesn't look as clear. Pause, think about this in your head. We can go here again. You can tell, massive difference. You know, very clear here, no yellowing or haze, no more dots up here. There's honestly an incredible difference. I mean, this is certainly a cleaner light. This is way better than I thought it was gonna be. So I'm excited to see what it's gonna look like after the clear coat's on. So the last step of this process is going to be using a 3M Headlight clear coat, and I'll link this in the description below. This is gonna apply basically a finish, a coat, a protection, and it's gonna shine these things up a little bit and add more of kind of a gloss clarity. Those are terrible adjectives, but you guys kind of know what I mean. The only thing with this is make sure you wear a glove. Doesn't really matter what kind of glove. I just happen to have like a thicker automotive glove, you know, for working on your car. But the one thing that we are gonna do to do this process is we're gonna take the hood up because you really don't wanna get the stuff on the actual car itself. You can tell the car is still super dirty from the process that we basically just went through. One wipe is good for both headlights for the first part. You're going to not unfold the pack. We're gonna wipe down once over this. We're gonna get to the other headlight, wipe it down. We're gonna let it dry for 20 minutes without touching it. And then we're gonna repeat the process with the second pack and then leave it for, it says an hour, but I'm gonna give it 24 hours. And I'm just going over it. You know, it says kind of not to do that, but it does create some suds, so I'm just going over it so it's a clean finish. We're gonna let that sit for 15 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other headlight, and we will check back in 15. Okay, so we're back for the second pass here. Now we're gonna let it sit for an hour and a half. I'm actually gonna let it sit for 24 hours, but we're gonna check back in an hour and a half and I'll show you guys what it looks like. And there we have it, guys. So it's been an hour and a half. It's starting to dry. I think I'm still unsure of the clear coat. Now, the clear coat did make the headlight shinier, and I appreciate that, and I think from afar it looks better, but it did leave kind of like a residue. There is some texture, and maybe that was poor application, and I shouldn't have gone over and over again. But because it was basically bubbling when I applied it, and I knew that those bubbles would kind of carry over, I had to apply it multiple times. I know it's hard to see with the camera, and I know the car is super dirty from the whole process, so I need to clean the car. But overall, I mean, the kit is wonderful. I think I will use the clear coat again, but the kit is just, I mean, imagine what these looked like before. Going over to the other side here. You really can't ask for much more here. I mean, it just looks so much better than it did. Essentially, they look almost like they're brand new. It'll be great to test this out at night during the snow. There's my WRX right there, and it's covered in snow. So of course I've got my daily inside and my WRX outside feeling the brunt of this, but such is life. So thank you guys for spending some time caring about my headlights, and thank you for watching through. And I hope you guys learned how to clean and fix your own headlights and make them look like this. Now again, you could do this process with a 500 grit and it would look a heck of a lot better because you'd take a lot more of the headlight off. But if you've got a newer vehicle, you don't need to take as much headlight off. Try using the clear coat. Again, I'm like, you know, it does leave. There is some texture here that's kind of a little bit weird. From afar. It looks a lot better because it's much more glossy, but even before the clear coat, it looked so much better than it did before. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Check into the channels for another install and another kind of, you know, how-to in the future.